Thank you, though.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here tonight, taking time out of what I am sure are very busy schedules. We appreciate you weaving your way through the event that's also happening at Palmer tonight, so I hope that didn't make too many conflicts for people, but we do appreciate you being here.
So I'm going to get us started. I'm Ms. Giblin. I'm one of the school counselors here at the middle school, and we're going to talk quickly about our agenda for this evening. So we're going to learn a little bit about next year's schedule. We're going to learn about ways to be involved at the high school, what assistance there is for your students up at the high school, and at the end, feel free to ask any questions that come up during the presentation. So first we want to take a second to talk about what skills new students will need to be successful at the high school. These are things that we talk a lot about in the middle school, but definitely what we want you to keep in mind as you venture from our school up to the high school. So organization, right? This helps you stay on top of your grades and manage a bit of a higher caseload that's going to be coming your way once you get to the high school. So you want to make sure you're staying on top of all your homework, studying, and the different things that you're going to have to be responsible for up at high school. Good attendance. I know we talk a lot about this at the middle school, and that's no different when you get up to the high school. So daily robocalls will be sent home, same as the middle school, but at the high school it'll detail which mods are missed throughout the day. Positive choices. So when we think about the high school, we think about increased independence. But with increased independence becomes an increased responsibility to make the right choices, because good choices and bad choices really start to catch up with you and make an impact once you get to high school, and then thinking about your future. So we want to make sure that you're keeping that in mind, and then also knowing when, how, and where to access help. Just like at the middle school, the counselors up at high school are very, very visible. The counseling office is right in that main hallway once you enter the doors. So, just a second. There we go. So that is a picture of all of the counselors that are up at the high school. Mrs. Mago, who's in the middle of that top row, is the freshman counselor who will be working with all of you, but also Heather Noyes, the career counselor that you've all met before, Mrs. Dubois, who's the school social worker, and then Mrs. Oakley and Mrs. Taylor are the other two school counselors that are up at the high school. All right. And then also next year, you'll be taking a freshman seminar course. So every student who's a freshman will be taking this course, and it's designed to support students in their transition to the high school, to equip them with essential skills for success, both academically and socially. In the freshman seminar course, you'll engage in interactive activities, discussions, and reflections to develop those necessary skills to navigate the high school environment. We want to make sure that you feel empowered to take on that awesome responsibility that comes with that increased independence of the high school.
I didn't introduce myself before. I apologize. My name is Andrea White, and I am one of the school counselors here. And at the end is Mrs. Lloyd, and as Ms. Giblin just said, she is the career counselor for the high school and the middle school. I'm going to talk a little bit about what it is exactly that you need in order to graduate from high school. We do things in units, so you need a minimum of 22 units to graduate, and I'm going to break that down in a minute. And for all those classes that you take, you have to have a passing grade, and then in addition, if it's a Regents class, you need to pass the Regents exam as well. So when I talk about units of credit, some classes are one full unit and some are half units. A full unit class would be a class that you meet with every single day, like English or math. And a half unit would be a class that you take either every day for half a year, such as health or the freshman seminar that Ms. Giblin was just talking about, or a class that meets every other day, like PE. the required courses that you need to make those 22 units that you need to graduate are, you need 4 units of ELA, so you will be taking ELA in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. You are going to take 4 years of social studies. You need a minimum of 3 years of math, although we encourage you to take math all 4 years. You need a minimum of 3 years of science, although again, we encourage you to kind of push yourself and take science every year. You need at least 1 unit of world language, and the one would be if you're just doing the regular Regents diploma, but if you want to get the advanced distinction diploma, you are going to need 3 years of a world language. You need 1 art or music credit. You need a half a credit or unit of health, 2 units for PE, so that means because that's a half a unit that you earn every year, you're going to need to take PE all 4 years in order to earn those 2 units. You will take a half a unit of course, in foundations and finance, and then last but not least, you need at least 3 electives that you're going to take. And to be honest, if you're really filling up your schedules, you will end up with most likely more than 22 units. There's a ton of opportunity at the high school, and I hope that you get a chance to either tonight or when we do our individual scheduling within the next couple of weeks, take a look at that course curriculum guide, because every single year we're adding more and more and more. And Mrs. Noyen is going to talk about the pathways that we have, and we're going to talk about those again in our individual sessions. But it's very robust at the high school, and we're very confident that you're going to find, beyond the things that you have to take, lots of things that you want to take. So we hope that you look forward to doing that. The Regents exams that you're going to need to take, this is where it breaks down between a regular Regents diploma and an advanced designation diploma. Everyone needs an ELA Regents, everyone needs a global and a US history, and then it breaks down between the math and the sciences. So for math, you only have to have 1 Regents exam for the regular Regents diploma, and you need to take 3 years of Regents level math for the advanced designation. And then for science, you need 1 unit for the Regents diploma, and again, you need at least 2 for the Regents and the advanced designation Regents. So for the regular Regents, that adds up to a total of 5 Regents exams that you'll be required to take and pass, and then for the advanced designation, you'll need at least 8. I'm going to pass the mic now to Mrs. White.
Awesome. So I know this is a lot of information. Just know every year we will continue to go over graduation requirements. Students, it's our job as your counselors to make sure you're meeting the graduation requirements, but our students come in and they know exactly what they need in high school because we are constantly talking about it. So I'm going to go through our career pathways, and students who are here tonight, I know that we just did this, right? We came into your classrooms and we did some career planning. And again, I will always repeat, our goal is exposure, showing you what's available, what's out there, and having you take advantage of some different courses. So we use Naviance throughout middle and high school to explore the different career pathways. And when you have your one-on-one scheduling meeting with us, we will go through, every 8th grade student just did the career cluster finder, so we will go through and see what kind of popped up for them. And I know for some, it was exactly what they thought, and for others, they wanted to explore some others, which is fine. Our goal is that you're thinking about a plan, you're understanding what pathways we have to offer at the high school, and that you're taking advantage of them. So we're being purposeful with our thinking. So with that, we have 10 different pathways, and here's just a glimpse of the courses that are offered within the pathways, right? So if we have a student who says, oh my gosh, Mrs. White, I'm really interested in ag. Awesome, we have a ton of different ag courses that you can take. And I know next year, when we go through, when you do your scheduling meetings, there's not a ton of room in your schedule. But as your years progress, there gets to be a lot more room. And just know we're still developing more. We're actually developing a law class this summer, so we'll be able to have any student who's interested in going into law enforcement, will be able to have a class to kind of explore that. And beyond the classroom, a lot of my role is developing experiences for students. So if you're in ag and you're in welding, we have our welding students going to Ravensburg, right? We have different professional So it goes beyond the classroom. Our goal is that you're taking advantage, and if you see 3 different pathways you want to explore, awesome, we'll explore all of them throughout your high school career. You're not stuck in a pathway, it's more so thinking about a plan, making that plan, taking some courses to explore it, maybe having an experience, and then going from there. So some highlights. Those of you who haven't been up to high school, come up. There is so much changing. We just had our art suite redone. It is absolutely amazing. A couple years ago, we had our whole STEAM area redone. So these are just some different highlights. I'm sure as you drive by, you can easily see that our land lab is flourishing. We have students who work there all summer and provide produce, not only to our cafeteria during the school year, but also to our community. So oftentimes that farm stand in the summer has free produce. Our students run and do all of that. Ag Power, so any students who are interested in learning about mechanics or anything like that. It used to be that if a student was interested in a BOCES program, they really had to wait until their junior year, but we have a lot now at our high school where you can start exploring right away. So these are just some highlights. Different coding classes. We have, someone from Homeland Security coming in and talking to some of our cybersecurity classes next week. So a lot of exciting things within the classes. But come check it out. Our recording studio in the music area, that we actually had two different bands last year release songs on Spotify. So there's a lot of opportunities for you to really explore what you want, but also produce some amazing things as well. High school advisory. So I know you guys have advisory here at the middle school, and it looks a little bit different. You have one in the morning and one in the afternoon. So we've changed this at the high school over the last few years. Now we have advisory this year, and I think it's going to stay exactly like this for next year. We have advisory every single day, and it's really our focus. It's in the middle of the day, sometimes, and sometimes towards the end of the day, but it's never the very beginning and the very end. Our goal is all about intervention. So say you're working on an assignment and you just need a little bit more time, or you have some questions and you want to talk to your teacher, that your teacher's going to pull you through advisory. So a lot of intervention. We have different days are scheduled for different subject areas. So math and social studies are Monday and Tuesdays. English and science are Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then elective courses are Fridays. So it's purposeful, a lot of intervention time, a lot of, if you're working on a specific project, or so for example, I talked about students who produce those songs, right? If they have free time in advisory and they're not requested or don't have to do anything with another teacher, that's their collaborative time and can work together and produce music. All right, some additional opportunities. I know I talked about this a little bit, but we have a lot of college level courses that students can take right off the bat, right away. This last year, we've had a lot of students go in almost as sophomores in college, which is great. We want you to challenge yourself. We want you to take advantage of opportunities, but we want to be purposeful within that. And we will have scheduling one-on-one meetings this year, and then next year, we have workshops. So we really go through and make sure your plan is right for you. But these are just some highlights of what we have. If you walk through our high school, we have the Visions Federal Credit Union. That's an internship program. So when we meet with our freshmen and our sophomore students through our workshops, if they're interested in business or any other field, they can always apply to be an intern right here at our high school. So I know I talked about this when we were in the classrooms, but students are being paid during the day to work at Visions. So that's really fun. And they get paid all summer when they go through the training, and they get to go into different departments there. I know I talked about the music programs. We have a lot of different visits to different colleges, different industry visits, different people coming in. I know I mentioned also job shadowing, so I set up a ton of job shadows for students, whatever you're interested in. I have a student going to News Channel 34 for the day, in a couple days. I have a student go with the sheriff today, so it all depends on what your interests are and what you're able to do there. We have, as I mentioned, the CTE programs at BOCES. Those are junior year, so they're a couple years away, but there's still ways for you to explore before then. And we also, our ag program's actually CTE certified, and it's in-house. That's right at our high school. The youth apprenticeship program, so that is a program that sometimes a sophomore, but usually juniors and seniors, you get paid to work in a different area. So we have some students that go to Lourdes, Willow Point. We actually, newly a couple years ago, started an IT position. So we have students who are interested in IT, and they're actually working some of their school day with our IT guys, and getting paid. So we have students doing that every single year. And then New Vision, so that's a competitive program, senior year, that students apply to. There's different academies, there's engineering, health science, and so on. We talked about attendance earlier in those robocalls. I will tell you, that program is extremely competitive, and the number one thing they've been looking at for both CDs, for New Visions, for all of these, is attendance. So we just got our results back from who gets interviews for divisions today, and a few students who the academics were right up there, their attendance wasn't, and they weren't accepted into getting an interview. So when we talk about attendance and we're pushing you and we're talking about the robocalls, it's all for a reason, because we don't want you denied an opportunity that could be available to you. Okay. So some clubs. We have a lot of clubs, and if you see a club that isn't offered that you want to get offered, you can make it happen at the high school. You just have to have an advisor on board, and come up with a game plan, and then we can submit it. So there's a lot of different opportunities for involvement, and we will talk about this in your one-on-one. Our goal is for you to get involved. We're not saying you have to choose 10 different things to be a part of, but we want you to choose some. We want you to be purposeful in that. And I'll tell you from a scholarship standpoint, a lot of scholarships are based on community service. A lot of scholarships are based on holistically, what are you doing as a student? Yeah, you go to class and you're good in the classroom. What are you doing outside the classroom to get involved? What are you doing for your community? So think about a club that really would make sense for you and something that would help you pursue whether it's your future interest or another area of interest that you have. Athletics as well. I know a lot of you are already involved in athletics, or maybe you're thinking, oh, I wish I played a different sport, just knowing that we have a lot of different sports available, and we'll talk about that in our one-on-one as well.
All right, and like Mrs. Noy said, this is a lot that we threw at you this evening, and we are gonna continue this conversation during our one-on-one scheduling appointments that begin tomorrow. Mailings have gone home with your student scheduled time. If you have any questions or wanna just double check that time and date, you can, contact Darlene Colwell in the main office. I have the number right up there, where you can ask us and we can quickly check as well. But yes, they'll be tomorrow, Thursday, and then again on Monday and next Thursday. So, yeah, please feel free to double check with us, and then all three of us will be hanging back for a little bit. So if you have any questions from this presentation, please do not hesitate to come up and ask us. We appreciate you all being here. We look forward to setting up your students for the high school.
I just want to add one thing. We have signups up here. If any of you are interested in signing up for the Summer STEAM Academy or the Windsor Strong program, please come up and see us, and we'll get your names down and make sure you get involved in that for the summer. And that doing those types of things in the summer go to a little bit about what Mrs. Noy was talking about as well, and getting involved in things, doing things with your time that matter. And if everything else is equal on an application for a job or for college or something like that, and you're involved in more activities and showing that you have a bigger breadth of what you do with your time, you're going to stand out to either A, get accepted, or B, get some scholarship money. So we want to just make sure we're providing you all with every opportunity we possibly can. So like Ms. Giblin said, we're going to be here for a few minutes after if you have questions. And again, we really, truly appreciate you coming out here and spending some time with us this evening and learning about that next step for your kids. Thank you so much.